Welcome back to the McCoy Leadership Podcast, elevating your impact through valuable insights and conversations about leadership. Welcome back to another episode of the McCoy Leadership Podcast, and today we have none other than the question mark man, Matthew Lesko, with us. We're excited to hear what Matthew has been doing over the past 50 years. You might remember him, seeing him on television, his book that was just full of all the government programs that are out there. And Matthew's going to tell us a little bit about how we as businesses might be able to help ourselves. And he's going to tell us a little bit about his new community and his new project that we can all get involved in. So with that, I'll kick it over to you, Matthew, if you want to give just a little bit of your background. How in the world did you end up wearing a question mark suit on television selling government access?
Well, all of our lives, it's a work of art. I think all of our lives are. We sort of think we know what we want to do, but we really don't because we don't know what the hell's out there. So we try stuff and we fail. And it's sort of like anything you do in life is learning how to walk all over again. When you learn to walk, you didn't know how to do it. And the problem is, as a grown-up, you're trying to learn to do something. You think you could just do it. But we forget you're learning something new and you're going to fail a lot. Like walking. I don't know if you have kids. I remember my kids try to walk and they go over to the coffee table, pull themselves up and fall on their butt 100 times before they learn how this stuff works.
Yep.
And see, as a grown-up, we don't want to fall on our butt 100 times. So we're trying to find that magic thing to do and get advice and pay for all these experts to tell us exactly how to succeed. To succeed is just trial and error. You don't know. We all have to succeed in different ways. And that's the beauty of life, that we're all painting our own canvas and we're all unique. We're all different. What works for somebody else probably won't work for you. And you can learn, of course, from people, but it comes down to you. You can get ready for failure because that's going to happen.
Yep.
So, I have data to prove that. I've written 100 books and only 10 made money. So, I know I'm wrong 90% of the time. I swear every one of those things would be a New York Times bestseller, but I got 2 out of it. But I had to write 100 to do that. And so how do we do that in life? And that's what I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing now for the rest of my life, because I could help people find tools to help them do things in life that they really want to do. And it takes a long time to figure it out. So you're going to fail and that you need help. And see, we live in a capitalist society. And so we think that we have to have money to do everything. And that's true in a way, but there's a part of our society which I call as the giving society. We have a giving society, and you worked for one of these earlier. You said in the workforce development. These are tools in our society that give you money and help to grow or succeed or whatever. And we not taught how to learn that. You're in Pennsylvania. I'm from Pennsylvania. Nobody taught me about the government or nonprofit organizations that are there to help you and not charge money. Wow. We grow up thinking everything costs money, and we go to Google, and maybe the nonprofits are in there, but you'll never find them.
Yep.
And so they sit in the way, and then we make a few calls to those Google things, and everybody's asking for money. Well, I don't have money. I'm trying to solve a financial problem or grow my life or whatever. And so you think everything takes money, and it doesn't. If you know about the giving society we have. I actually have a chart here that I just put up a couple of weeks ago. This is our whole economy, represent everything in our government gross domestic product. And here's capitalism. It represents about 60% of our entire economy is capitalism. But we have 40% of the economy that is government and nonprofit organizations. They're giving you stuff you already paid for one way or another because you live here.
Yep.
And that's the only requirement. And the fat cats know this. And that's how I learned this. I was doing research for Fortune 500 clients. man, I want to get paid, so I'd find them anything that one. They wanted to start companies and buy stuff and all this stuff, and I'd run around Washington because I lived here. And at that time, there was no database or no internet, and I'd go to libraries, and I'd go to libraries in the government agencies. They had the best libraries in the world because they had one for anything. You know, the Department of Agriculture had a wonderful agricultural library. Commerce Department, a wonderful business library, best in the world. And so I talked to these librarians, and when I found out, they said, "Oh no, you don't want the books." You know, I was doing a market study on pasta.
Okay.
From Procter & Gamble, was thinking about starting a chain of pasta businesses. So I'm in the library there talking to the librarian. I said, "Oh, she's finding working on pasta." "Oh no, you got to go down the hall here and talk to Charlie Porter. He's the pasta expert in the government." I mean, and that, oh man, I dropped my teeth, you know. And so I went down to talk to Charlie, and man, I was in there for like 2-3 hours. I couldn't get out of his office, you know. I felt Charlie had a master's in economics, a bachelor's, I mean, a PhD in it, studying this stuff for 30 years. Nobody knows he's there anymore. His wife's sick of hearing about it, you know. And he was giving me studies that the government just did, cost thousands and thousands of dollars about the market and who's making whatever. So I pack all this stuff up and sell it for as much as I could to my clients, you know, because they'll pay for anything if they're going to make money at it. And that's when I thought, boy, this is what a treasure we have. It's like oil under the ground. We may not be in Texas with oil under the ground, but we got this knowledge and information just sitting there for the access. And like now, even with Trump coming to town, you see all the billionaires in town, in the country are following him around because they know that's the best source of money you'll ever get in America. But the average person doesn't know. So that's my mission. And I figure I got about 10, 15 years of doing this. Been doing it for 50 years. I mean, you bought a book from me probably 10, 20 years ago. and it's still, so I'm doing a shitty job at this because I still have to do it.
Well, and you just mentioned that I bought a book, and I'll share with our listeners that, you know, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago, I said I was working second shift. And I was sitting at home, and this commercial came on, and there was this crazy guy on television in funny glasses and a question mark suit. And he said, "Hey, I can help you get free money." And I thought, you know, I was 20 couple years old, and I thought, well, free money, this is a great investment. And so I bought the book. And, you know, the reality is I still have it around because some of those programs are still in existence, or to your point, the information. Because some of the things I was interested in at that point in my life was just knowing, what can I do? Where is the information? How do you start a business? And lo and behold, the government had a whole book on how to start a business. So exactly. At any rate, I was one of the 4 million. So you're welcome for that. But, you know, in all honesty, you know, I say that, but, you know, thank you for putting it all together and being out there. So what, you know, I find it so fascinating. You've been doing this for 50 years. And although you said, you know, you're doing a pretty bad job because you got to keep doing it. We keep getting more people, to be fair. But with that being said, you're now at a point where you could retire, but you said, no, I want to keep doing this. What has inspired you to continue to move forward?
It's appreciating life. Yeah, I mean, we're all here. We don't ask to be here. All of a sudden, we're plopped into this environment or whatever, and nobody asks us to if we want to come here. So we're here. So we have to make the best out of this stuff, you know. And it's hard. I mean, life to me is just, you know, one disaster after the next, you know, and how to live through all this stuff. And I also feel it's because life can be so difficult, and bad shit's going to happen to you no matter how good you are or whatever, that you have to have something bigger than you to sort of work on so that you don't take all the stuff, the bad stuff that happens to you personal, because you got a bigger kind of mission in mind. And I see that the same with personal relationships. If you hook up with somebody for somebody, you go, oh, well, look how rich they are, or oh, how beautiful or handsome. I mean, you're going to have a lot of problems, they have to deal with, and even trying to stay together. And if you don't have something bigger to do that, and families do that for people sometimes, and stuff like that keeps you in the game. So that's why here in work, I'm 81 now, and I just can't think of any. I mean, sitting on the beach sounds like sitting in a coffin to me. and we're here to give. I think that's what it is. I mean, I feel that the most selfish thing in life is giving, because I think if we're giving, that is a reward that you feel, and that's what. In our community, that's what I can't. I mean, when I started this thing, I said, well, I'm the expert in this, and how many people can I? And I don't want to charge $10,000 like I used to with fat cats, so I want to charge only $20. How am me going to make a living charging only $20? And what's happened by accident, other members are helping people, and now you get from people like you that are just struggling and found out about this stuff, and they're helping you find out how they did it, which I think is much more valuable than having some clown like me tell you how to do it. Yeah, he's been doing 50 years. But if somebody like you just found out about how to do it and did it and can tell you what they did and how they did it, to me, that's more powerful. And they just volunteer to do this. I mean, right now, every day we have 3, 4, 5 hours as much as people who are live on Zoom calls to answer your questions, and how they did it. And it's about giving. And they feel great to do that, to share knowledge or whatever. I mean, why are you doing a podcast? Because to share your what you have, and that creates the community a little more too. So you want to feel part of life and part of what's going on. And even at 81, sure, I don't know what that latest goddamn app is, even though I have an MBA in computers. What I learned is lost 50 years ago. But it's all about giving somehow, and an opportunity to give. And that's why we have so much resources of people, that can be giving to each other and helping that. It's another resource that's not used. I mean, we have talent and a heart to give love to people, and you're going to sit on the beach and not do anything. You need that to recharge your batteries or whatever. I understand that, but boy, I think we're here to use us, in a way that helps other people. And the more I do this, I mean, even I don't know. I couldn't even say the word love, I think. I felt growing up in the 50s and 60s, if you're a man in this country, at least where I grew up in Wilkes-Barre, in a coal mining town, I thought you had to marry you if I said I love you. And it wasn't just a couple of years ago when I started looking at all that differently and opening my heart to people more, how that made me feel better. It's very selfish. and how do we get that? That's why I call my community now a loving community. I mean, just people that are just trying to love each other and help them. And it's just something I would have never designed. And I think the greatest stuff in life comes by serendipity. It just happens. But you have to do something. You don't know what to do, because nobody knows the perfect answer for anybody. And particularly, we go to experts to tell them what to do. Man, you're asking an expert to tell you what to do with your life. They don't even know what the hell to do with their life. They struggle with that. We all struggle with that. So that's the process, and it can be fun. Because you're learning, you continue growing. Right now, typically, like my parents, they in their 60s, they moved the floor to the play golf. And then, God, I mean, that's 20 years ago or something for me. Why would I want to retire and do something I'm shitty at? I was never a good golfer. I sort of liked it, but to find something that you really contribute. And I think everything is about giving as much as you can. And unfortunately, most of us want to give as little as we can, which is not satisfying. So that's like going to the dentist.
Yep.
You know, oh, someone don't want to do, but I have to. And when you're giving as much as you can, the time is not around anymore. You want to do that more than anything. I remember when I would play golf. You know, oh, I love playing golf, yeah. And I'd do that, and the time would go so quickly. Oh, it's over already. And I'd do it in rain or sleet or snow. I wouldn't care what the weather was and everything. But whoa, when I went to work, man, I wanted everything perfect. But doing something you want to do, you do it anyway.
I find it interesting in our leadership business, what often we're coaching folks to do is to create a personal mission statement. Sometimes we do that with our businesses. We hope we do that with our businesses, but we encourage folks to create that personal mission, to be overarching and something that they can, move towards throughout their life. But I find it very fascinating that, your success is built around that idea of having something greater and bigger. And I think for everybody listening, it's just proof of how important it is that we don't just go through the days, day by day. Hey, I got a job. It's going to pay the bills, and go home and sit and vegetate on the couch and watch television, that we do something. So I appreciate that. Now we're here to talk about what probably everybody tuning in when they see it is going to say, oh, Matthew Lesko, he's going to give us free money.
Yes. Okay, let's do that. Okay. Now, you have a lot of business people, okay? Well, business, the one thing, there's millions. First of all, don't go to Google. You want free help, just stay out of Google. But start at places like this. One place is the SBA, but not you don't want anything from the SBA. You want from the SBA is their database. They have a database of all the free people that help you for free start or expand any business. And you probably know these economic development offices and things like this. And the SBA, they've grown this a whole lot, particularly since the COVID and things like that, that there's more and more small little nonprofits that just help businesses even in their bedroom, or freelancers and all kinds of things. So if you go to SBA.gov, can you go online now and check it?
I sure can.
Okay, why don't you do that? Go to SBA.gov and then /local-assistance.
Yep.
Okay. Now, there should be a place you see you put in your zip code. And you may know these people because you've been in similar work.
Yep, it brings up actually, now we are in the middle of nowhere, but it still brings up, I got 5 different organizations here just locally, 2 of which are 2 of the SBDCs.
Right.
And then a few others as well.
So they're the places that you go. You don't go to Google, and you call them. See, the other thing, too, is everybody wants I want to fill out a form and get money and things like that. And it doesn't work that way. It's too complicated. And that's why I think the worst question to look for money is, I want a grant. No, you want help. Because most of these organizations, like the ones that you have in front of you now, probably don't have money. Some of them do have money for businesses, but most of them don't. But what they do know, they have the knowledge of where the money is. They have the knowledge also, they give you anything about helping your business, whether it's legal help or marketing help or anything to start a business, filling out the forms, tax stuff, all that is free through these organizations that you could get. And if you go to Google with any of those questions, you're going to get somebody telling a couple $100 an hour to help you.
Yeah.
And that's important, I think, to me, that there's people out there. And then also another one for people in business is EDA.gov. EDA.gov. And see, all these people, their job, they get paid just to help you start a business. Everybody else you're going to look for in Google want to get paid by you. These people already been paid So you don't have to do it. And that's why you have to learn how to use these organizations differently than if somebody who's kissing your ass because they want to get your money. These people got paid already. They don't have to do that. So you have to be nice to them. So EDA, you got there?
Yep, EDA.gov.
There's one of the tabs on top. Oh, I forget what it is, and I don't know. I'm afraid to touch much. Is a state-by-state listing, local, maybe.
Yep.
Maybe I can see it. And you see it, map the United States.
Yes, you have an economic development directory right from resource and tools.
Right.
And then from there, you can click right on your state and find your economic development districts and so on and so forth. So
all those people get paid to help you start or expand any business, nonprofit, and even invention, freelance, government contracts, any of that stuff. And they're all free to help you do that. And they know money sources, and they have money for it. A lot of these places have more money sources than just what you'll find at SBA. And that's important. And again, the key to this is talking to people so they know you as an individual, and you're not just a digit or a robot, because people want to help people. They don't want to help robots. and now, that's the key to this.
I think you said something there, and I just want to back up for a second that this sinks into everybody. You said, obviously, we think we need money.
Right.
But what we really need is we need somebody to help us. And that might be to find money, to find free help, to find legal help. But what we really need is somebody to help us. There is no quick answer out there that tomorrow I'm going to call my state senator and he's going to give me $50,000. It's not going to happen, right?
I mean, you can make hit by lightning too, but and they're the people I put my infomercials. but no, you're absolutely right, and that's because the help is out there, and they want to help you. See, I mean, but you have to see. They want to answer your question. So if you ask for a grant, they don't have any, then you miss the opportunity. Yeah. And that's the other thing. They want to help you start a business. So, and also to me, that sounds a little gimme, that's, I just want you because of your money or whatever, these people have knowledge to help people start businesses there, and you want to tap into that. And people don't, the perception of what our government is one thing or whatever. We're never going to solve those kinds of problems. But the other thing, there's one other database I want to make sure all your people know about, and that is findhelp.org.
All right, findhelp.org. And
okay, now put in your zip code on the left hand on top.
It looks like this brings up, I have 2,265 programs that are showing up, and it looks like this is a list of all the nonprofits that might be willing to help.
Right. And government offices. So that's the 40% on my chart here. And it's not everybody, of course, but it's a good place to start. So that's the 40%. Nobody there will ever charge you money. Okay, and so you have 3,000 organizations just in your zip code. I mean, that's just astounding. People think there's one office or just your congressman or whatever. No, there's 3,000 people that want to give you stuff and money. And then I tell you, like if you put in, well, say you want to repair your home, put a home repair, see what they got up there. And once you got up in the left-hand corner again, you could put in a keyword. But you see, it's for anything. Now, that's where your workforce development people is. And actually, we should look at that for you, too. But let's look at home repair.
Yep, under home repair, all kinds of disaster recovery type things.
Yeah.
Household personal care, help at home.
How many have there? Can you tell?
Yeah, I have 150 in total that would be under household repair.
Right. So you have 150 organizations that help you fix up your home for free. That's incredible. back up once. I'm curious about what job training is like, because you know this a little bit. Because see, also in business, people don't realize, you're going to ask for a grant for business, but for what? To hire and train people? Oh no, you go to Department of Labor to
Yep.
to get training grants for hire employees, right? So it's people, and there's another accelerator, Apex Accelerator. We have to do that later before we make sure we do that. But let's do what were we into? Oh, job training.
Yeah, if you stick in thinking about it from a business standpoint, workforce development, there's 43 in our zip code that can help with workforce development. And, that's everything from here in PA, the Career Link, and then across the state line is the Western Maryland Workforce Development Board. And I will say, I will throw in a little plug there because this amazes me. The Western Maryland Workforce Development Board, I used to be the chair of.
Oh, wow.
I am now also, one of my clients is what is called the Western Maryland Consortium, which is a workforce development item.
Right.
But if you live in the state of Maryland and you're listening to this, there are programs, and there are probably programs in every state, that if you're an existing business and you need to hire somebody, they'll help you do that. They'll help you pay for it.
Right. And train people who are not even trained. Yeah, I know. This is, and see, the big guys know all this. Yeah. And they're using the, there's another, so that's, and even personal. So if you have an employee that needs health care, you go here and show them how to get free health care or whatever they do. They can't pay their rent. You go here and show your employee how to get the rent paid, and make them do a little work and learn the system. So you don't have to give as many benefits.
So, why doesn't, and I know the answer, I believe, but it kind of makes you angry that when you go to Google or you go to wherever, none of these things show up. And
Absolutely.
One of the things I believe is a lot of these programs, it is federal money and they can't use the money to advertise themselves. So it becomes a secret that only certain people know about.
That's absolutely right. It's against the law to advertise. So you're going to Google looking for this stuff, and it's going there with a blindfold on.
Yeah, or you find somebody that has created a business that wants to charge you to find the free things that are already out there. I mean, that's the other piece of it, I guess. Well, this is awesome. So we had.
For business, I'd like to make sure you get apexaccelerators.us.
All right, we found it.
Okay, that is like SBDCs, but just for government contracts, state and local and federal contracts.
Okay. So what? Now wait a minute. So not only are they going to help me start the business, but I can do business with them too, and they'll pay me for that?
Yeah. Well, no, they help you get. They actually have grants to help you get and free services. So they're a free marketing arm to get government contracts for your business.
Okay.
Okay, so that's your sales force to get a contract.
Well, that is awesome that even exists. I did not know about that.
Well, they just changed the name. It was, what was it before? Apex or something? No, that's what it is now. And they even have grants, and it's really to help small businesses get contracts, because they all have rules and regulations. They have to give X percent of their contracts has to go to small business and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So then the government gives you free help to get those contracts.
We live in a great country. We really do. We just got to learn more about it.
I was interviewing a podcaster who came from the Ukraine just a couple of years ago. And he said, this is Russia. He said, Russia, you get everything from the government. He said, he had no idea. The government could be like that.
So now, what about the business owner that is out there and they're like, all right, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to go get a grant on my own. I found a grant. I'm not asking for help. I'm just going to apply for it. My experiences have been that typically they're not that successful, because why wouldn't you accept free help to help you get the free money or whatever it is you're after? But what has been your experience?
Right. No, that's absolutely right, because we would like it to be that way. Like we see, go to the grant store and pick out the grants we want to apply for. But it's too complicated to do that. Then the work comes in finding the right grant to apply to.
Yep.
And that's what the key is. So it's not filling out the form. For most businesses and individuals, you don't need a grant writer. It's usually 3-4 pages, fill in the blanks, and that's it. People go out and hire grant writers first before they even have a grant to look at, an application to look at. To me, that's like my favorite joke is that's like buying a prom dress before you're invited to the prom. No, and the other way to know if that's right for you is to call the people giving the money and ask them, does this make sense for me to apply?
Yep.
Because otherwise you're just going around in circles and filling out forms and getting pissed off because you get nothing.
So another complaint that I hear from businesses sometimes is that there's something, a grant out there, let's say workforce development, because I have experience there.
Yes.
And somebody points them in a direction and says, here is this great opportunity with the Department of Labor. And they just stop dead in their tracks and say, oh no, I'm not going to apply. I don't want anything to do with the Department of Labor. I don't want them to know anything more about me.
Right.
What would you tell someone that is looking at it that way, as opposed to taking advantage of a program that can help their business grow?
Well, if they're inspiration, most people think our billionaires are inspirational. Every fucking billionaire in this country uses this stuff. So you're just, if you have a philosophical reason, fine. You'll get through life, I'm sure, whatever. But it's sort of like, I always use the example, well, I'm not going to get on that expressway to go to New York. Man, I hate expressways. I'm going to stay on the blue highways. It'll take you twice as long to get there. That's all.
Yep.
And that's what it is.
Now, why don't the billionaires that are out there using these programs, why don't they tell us about it?
Okay. Elon Musk is hooked to the hip with Donald Trump right now. Why? He already got $5 billion from the government, and he invested $150 million in his campaign, so that, see, all these people, they say, going to make everything more efficient. No, they want to make it easier for them to get contracts. That's efficiency for them.
Yep.
And we have to be careful of that, because we have, like during the COVID, where we're giving all this money to small businesses, hundreds of billions of dollars were just ripped off because it was too easy to get.
Yep.
And you have to have controls, So like the bank said, oh yeah, just sign here, we'll give you the money. They're not going to do that. They're looking in your underwear drawer and everything. Making sure. So
beyond the financial grants that could be there, or maybe more rightfully, finding the right places. The SBDA, the SBDC, the Help Me, and we'll put links in the show notes to all of these. Are there any other secrets to trying to find additional help within the government?
Yeah, the elected official isn't bad, because but I would use them when things, you found a contract you want, you found something in the government, they said no. You use them to force it through, or inquire, because they get different offices to call. They have different phone numbers at the agencies. They get their phones answered. You and I have to go through the front door. They go through the back door.
Yep.
And they even brag how many people they got money for. And now that set-asides now they could have put certain money aside in a, what do you call that, sweetie? Not the set-asides of the elected officials, earmarks. Yeah, earmarks were outlawed. Now they're back in. So like my congressman in Maryland just came up with this big, all the thousands and thousands of people he got earmarks for, and small businesses, nonprofits, and they're able to put that in the bill for money, because they're going to, some other congressman, they'll okay the bill for his too.
Yep.
and so they look like heroes. And they can't get things done, in the government.
The one common theme I heard you say: call them, don't email them, talk to your folks. How important is relationships? Is it a bad idea to just get to know your local representatives and your senators and know who they are?
Absolutely. But it's really a staff person. I mean, they're making the calls and everything. So that's why, I mean, and even your senator probably has an office in Harrisburg or somewhere, even to go down and talk to somebody. Hey, this is what I'm trying to do, my business or whatever. I'm wondering how you guys can maybe help me, even explain the problems or not. But they want to help you, because this thing, if they get you a grant or contract or whatever, 50 grand, you'll vote for that son of a bitch no matter what they do.
Yep.
This is their marketing, and you're coming to them. So they don't have to go and shake your hand. You're coming to them to shake their hand.
So out of the past 50 years, all the things that have happened, what is your funniest story of something that you've had happen through all of this?
Oh, God. It's such a blur. I keep getting surprised every day. And that's new programs that come. I mean, I just did something. Here. Government has a program that will forgive 90% of your back child support payments that you can't pay.
Oh, my.
Right. It just surprises me every day. We have a special office in every state that they have programs that forgive if you can't pay your child support payments. Why the hell we do that? No. I tell you can't. People approach the government thinking they know how it works. So, I've been on 50 years. You can't. You have to know what's there. It's like in the military, where they send out a scout, before they attack somebody, they go out and find out what's there, and the scout comes back, oh, yeah, and then so you should put your guys over here. And that's the way you just don't barge in and do something. You have to scout out, where to go and what's right for you. And the most important thing is really talking to people. And the more we become digitized, we seem to do that less. And that's why now it becomes more important, because we've got so much digital shit. You don't know what's good, bad, or different.
Yep.
Or you talk to people giving out the money. That's the truth. And anybody in between, even like me, we're guessing.
So I guess really my last question on this subject is, if you were able to give just one piece of advice, you had 10 seconds to tell somebody that's getting ready to start a business, what is that piece of advice?
Your heart is smarter than your brain. I mean, we run around trying to get the perfect this or whatever, and I think anything that happens in your life that is meaningful comes from your heart, because anything in life is a pain in the ass to do, and you're not going to do it unless your heart's in it. So that's why I use question marks. Say, I'm into hearts now. Even if you got the right answer, you're not going to get it done unless your heart's in it.
See, I didn't even catch that until just now. Not only is it a question mark jacket, but it's question marks inside of a heart. I love it.
Yeah.
So as we start to come to the close here, I ask all my guests 2 questions, and I'm very anxious to see what your answers are.
I am too.
The first question is, throughout your life and everything that you've done, what is your go-to book? management, leadership, what have you, that you've continually said, you know what, this book is great, and you've maybe read it, reread it, listened to it. What is that book for you?
Well, I don't anymore. I used to read a lot about that stuff anymore. Now, the book I'm reading is about love.
Okay.
And I gave them out as Christmas presents, even. Because, boy, I mean, coming from love or doing that, it just makes everything in life so much nicer. You know, and if we don't do it individually, then it won't encourage other people to do it. And it's very selfish, I think, because it feels so good. And I wish I knew this a long time ago. We'll run around in circles as much.
And the last question is, what is your favorite piece of technology today?
My thumbnail to pick my nose. No, favorite. What do I think of? I mean, I studied computer science. I got an MBA in computers back in the 70s. So I was a coder back then, and had a software company and whatever. Right now, I think it's my wife who's losing her eyesight, and how technology is helping her is just wonderful. Yeah, and that makes my heart grow more than anything else in technology, because I get to see her do more in life because of the technology.
That is an awesome answer. And, you know, quite honestly, most everybody answers with, you know, their phone or this or that. But that answer, I've never really thought about what technology has done for us to make us able to live a better life longer, those types of things. So that's an awesome answer. Thank you.
My pleasure. No, it opened my heart, and I'm starting to cry. So now I know I said something important.
Yes, I agree. So, you know, Matthew, it has been such a pleasure to have you on, and I wasn't sure, you know, getting ready for this, you know, I was like, you know, is he going to be the question mark man?
Talks like this.
But, you know, the information that you've given us is so valuable. I will share just real briefly that, you know, with me, I am also an auctioneer, and I've been an auctioneer for 15 years or so. And that business, when I started it, was through our local SBDC. They helped me do the business plan. They helped me take the business plan to the bank.
Yeah, wow.
They helped do all of that. When I started my consulting and leadership business, I kind of already knew what I needed to do to get started. But I have engaged as well with the SBDC here locally, and they are helping me to come up with a growth plan and understand what's out there and what's available. So I echo everything that you've said, and the websites that you've given us, the places to go. I think it's so valuable for everybody to just understand that what you have to offer. And we didn't really get to or mention your community. How can people get to your community and join with you?
It's leskohelp.com. And it's easy. It's easy to give money. And if you don't like it, we'll give you money back. Don't worry about it.
So leskohelp.com, and you can get on there, engage with the people. You know, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe there's something live happening almost every day.
Absolutely. 4 or 5 items every day. We get about 4 or 5 hours a day doing that. Plus, we give out grants to members, to the $50,000 to $70,000 that we give out to members that could apply to. And you can ask 100 questions a day if you like. Yeah, it's just more than I ever thought I'd be able to do. So it's because of people that want to give.
$20 a month, and you could get $1,000 out of it, or $2,000 maybe. Right. But it's $20 a month, you know. And today, all the things that are out there, AI and everything's $100 a month.
Right.
So it sounds like a great thing. I think I'm gonna, as soon as we get off of here, I'm gonna go check it out and see what's on there and engage. But thank you so much for taking time out of your day to share all of these insights with our listeners.
I get excited every time to maybe teach somebody about something that could help them.
And I hope maybe we can get you back again here in a little while. And
I only got about 10, 12 years left, I think.
Well, I think we could get you on in that time period. Thank you so much for our listeners. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to check us out on our social media, our website, McCoyLeadership.com. And by the time this airs, we should have a few classes on the calendar as well. So check those out. And until next time, thank you so much.